Hello, I am Nolana Lynch and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing how I set up my gratitude documented journal for 2025. I really love using a traveler's notebook for this year's documentation of my gratitude in the month of November, Hello, I am Nolana Lynch and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing how I set up my gratitude documented journal for 2025. I really love using a traveler's notebook for this year's documentation of my gratitude in the month of November. Let's get into today's video. So I kick things off by using this piece of washi tape and creating a bit of a border along the upper edge. I love this yellow and white tape and I thought it would be pretty nice to use it with some of my family photos, which were from the Sunflower Festival a bit north of us from earlier this year. I love autumn colors. However, it is a spring in Australia right now. But it was fitting that these were the last professional photo shoot images that we have of the family, and I thought it'd be nice to use them here. So this matched really well with the Layle By Mail season pass, and I used the yellow and white one here to just cut this down and create an upper border to frame the photo. I was about to cut off the extra edge, but then I like how this looks on the other side of the page carried through, so I decided to just snip a little banner here and leave it like that because I quite like how that looks. And so now I'm gonna pop our photo in there, but to frame that a bit, I thought that I'd add a label on the top and just add the title as well for the project. I love this thankful stamp from Layle By Mail. It is one of the sets this year that was released at the same time as this gratitude journal. And I figured it'd be really lovely to use it to document my November. And even if it's not for me a daily project, I figured it would be nice to still, throughout the month, pop in and add a photo, add some journaling of things I'm grateful for. So I'm just getting a feel for where I want this label to go. It's a die cut from the pack and I like it just there. I also love that there was extra sky and whatnot in this photo, because having the white space is quite helpful when embellishing projects. And so I got these brand new stamp blocks. I think they're called ruler blocks. I will check that for you and link it down below. It's a bit of an angle, so it sort of rolls onto your media, which I thought was pretty cool to try out. So I have them in two boxes. One comes in 4, the other has about 2 or 3 in different sizes, up to 5 by 7 inches, which is huge. And so I can't wait to play around with them some more, but I used them a few times in this video, about 2 or 3 different sizes, and I've quite liked how it turned out. So I just thought I'd mention that because that's brand new in my craft room. And so yeah, just laying that down, the first part of the title, which says I am so, and I like how that turned out there. And then I add the label, and I want to add in the word thankful from this stamp set. So just going through now, I am contemplating whether to add it directly to the label on the traveler's notebook, because the K goes under the label. There's a bit of a curvature happening there. And so first I said I would stamp it off on a piece of paper So I grab a piece of scrap paper that I have there, and I am just gonna add in the thankful stamp onto the stamp block. And once I have that added on, I'm also just going to make sure it's nice and flush and line it up. There are lines on this stamp block. So I'm centering it, or because I'm trying this for the first time. And then I'm just gonna ink up this stamp using this metallic gold ink here that I like. I also remember that, yeah, let me grab this piece of scrap paper that I have just in my bin, here, my scrap paper bin, and just gonna dab this as much as I can, because I find with the metallic inks you do need a bit of coverage to get a nice clean print. I am going a bit gently at first because I don't want to like press the curved block straight into the ink pad. So I'm just making sure to dab the stamp itself and not go in too deeply. But I do this for quite a bit and try to get some good coverage. So I'm just gonna pop that on there to see how it looks. And then once that's on, I am going ahead and just inking it up some more to do it again in a bit. Just kind of just, yeah, making sure there's a generous bits and coverage. So I'm gonna pop this on right here. It's a bit off center from the washi tape just to create a layered type effect. And then I'm adding some tacky glue onto the back of this label ever so gently so that it adheres to the photo. And once I have that on, I'm going to stamp directly onto my traveler's notebook, which I guess it could be a bit tricky, but I wanted to have the key below the label, which you'd see in a while what I mean. So just making sure it is straight and then just tapping it down to get it to adhere closely. And once that's done, I am going to pop on the thankful stamp there and just pressing it down. I guess the difference, because this has some raised pieces, and so the difference is that I won't be able to use my stamp press tool that I usually use there for added pressure. But it's still a good print and good coverage, but I do want to go in again to get some more pigment down on the onto the layout. So just gonna press that down a bit like that, and then lift it up. So yeah, I quite like how it came out. I considered adding black at a bit of a stagger as well, so we'll get like a shadow effect of the gold. But that's something that, you know, I could probably go back in and do if it bothers me. So now I'm just gonna use some of these calligraphs that I got. I have a discount code for Archer and Olive, Nolana 10, and I have the link below with the items that I've used. And so I really love these pens and the colors that they come up with. The range is really lovely. It was great to just kind of color in some of the flowers. I did not want to color in on all. My plan was to color in about 4 to represent each member of my family for this. So I'm just going in slowly and covering, you know, there's about 4 of my favorite flowers in there. And then I also have a few shades of green, which are really fun. And so just taking my time to color within the lines. I was never a child who felt like I did really well coloring within the lines. I do love art and I do love painting. I'm I've always been more into abstract art, which tracks. So I'm going ever so slowly with this to be sure that I, yeah, color within the lines for these flowers. But I guess I could do some mixed media and splashes and painting and stuff, and it would still look pretty cool. So just, going in there, adding some highlights and pops of colors to bits and pieces of this, and then moving on to the next step in preparing this journal. These are pens that I'm using for the first time, so I am making sure to shake it and pop it down and get some of the ink flowing through. So you might see me doing that a bit while I'm, painting, but then also going in there and trying to get the ink to flow a bit. So yeah, I really love how this turned out, and let's proceed to the next step. So now that this is done, I am just going to shade in the rest of flowers, as you can see here. And then I'm adding an extra piece of washi tape to mimic the one above. And I quite like how this page looks. I ended up just kind of, going in. It might look like 5 flowers, but actually the one on the left is on one branch or one stem, or it merges in the midway. So it's probably one-ish. Anyway, I thought for balance, it might be nice to have one left, right, and like the 2 in the middle. So anyway, moving on to the first set of journaling on this page. So this is my opening gratitude journaling here. And I am popping in this 4x6 photo from the same photo shoot. And I'm just gonna add in a couple of these stamps that I like from the stamp set. Like, this means so much to me. Was a good one to add in here. The Sunflower Festival, we haven't gone in a few years. We took my son a few years ago and we did the same photo shoot, and I really loved it. So I really thought it would be nice to go with my daughter this year, and we had such a great time. It's always a mission because it's a bit of a ways of a drive, especially with 2 young kids. But it is such good fun that it was a great time and a great activity to do. And so I really treasure that we were able to participate in this activity with the kids and with my daughter, because she would have been just a few months, so probably 4 or 5 months old at the time. But she did pretty well on the road trip. So really proud of her for that. And now I'm just gonna add in some bits of ephemera to the base. I like this bunch of flowers. It's pretty cute. There are yellow flowers, some greens that matches pretty well with the sunflowers in the background. And I'm just going to add in Simple Joys as a stamp. I feel like these stamps could all be used together to create like just some nice meaningful phrases through it all. And so I felt like Simple Joys would look quite good. And it's a simple joy, just being able to drive down to some sunflower fields for Sunflower Festival. I love sunflowers. I always have, I always will. And I'm really grateful that we live in a state that has sunflower fields. So being able to do that, I'm just going to pop that onto some archival ink. I put some washi tape on the first word. So I think it says 4 Simple Joys. And so, but I just wanted Simple Joys. And so I'm just going to pull that piece of washi tape off and pop that on there. And once I pop that on, I put it on the edge of the label, so there's some extra room for embellishments that if I need to tuck it in or add something on top, there's some extra room there. I love that it's a nice, simple print. as well, a simple font, sorry. And I'm just using my archival ink cleaner to just soak it there for a bit until I'm finished with the layout, because I won't take long, and it's nice for the stamps to soak a little bit in the cleaner so you get a nice cleaner rub off at the end. So just gonna tuck on some tacky glue here as well. And once I put the tacky glue on, I am just gonna also position the flower and perhaps the leaf as well. So let's just kind of do some layering here. So adding in this one to the edge, I like how that looks. And then gently popping it down. And the flowers, I like how that look on the opposite end of the label. And once that's down, I feel like I may not necessarily use a leaf, but we'll see how I feel. So I love these bunches of flowers. I think I love most cutesy florals. Whoops. And then, but these are quite pretty. And so just gonna gently and gingerly press it down here. And yeah, I like how that looks. I'm thinking about this blue star here that I can add in to just for some other color bit in there. Nothing too extravagant. Just keeping it nice and clean, and then just popping that down below Simple Joys. And so I have that in place, and I feel like it's time for me to add in my journaling. So just gonna stamp this part down. I'm using black because the lines are black, and I feel like it would give me the best kind of print versus like a yellow, which I also would have liked. I use archival ink for this. It's not a flush. I think because this stamp is like the exact length of the block, it didn't really do the edge like a full thingamajig. A full yeah, it's a bit ombre type of vibe, but I think it's good enough for me. And then I add in this piece of butterfly and foliage as well, just to cover that little bit because of the edge of the block, just from popping the ink in a bit too deeply. So adding that in there, and then I'm just gonna journal in some blocks of journaling and try to leave some room as well for bits of embellishment, at least 2 more sets, so that it just kind of breaks up the text a bit. I am using this pen, it's black ink, and I'm simply going in there and writing in my thoughts on gratitude and being grateful for this year so far. Just some general opening thoughts of things that I'm grateful for. And so as I write, I just reflect on the year, and I felt really happy doing that. And so once I've done that, I added another stamp in the middle here and a few more pieces of embellishments, and popping that onto this traveler's notebook page. This is a different color, but I do love the essence, the design of the embellishment, and so it leaves some room for additional journaling below. So just thinking about what else I can write in there. I considered having it as a second entry as well, because we don't have to do a full page of journaling every day. We could just do a couple thoughts, and then I considered adding a number 2 down there and leaving that for another day. But I think of some other things that I could write just to finish off the page. And I don't write too much either, because I just fill it in as well with some embellishments. And I feel like a lot of times I end up with quite a bit of embellishments left over because I actually go somewhere in between over embellishing and on embellishing, and I guess just right as well. So just all depends on my mood, really. And I felt like this little flag would be perfect for the date, and just adding another piece of embellishment below just to, finish up the page. And so I'm just, yeah, considering where exactly to place these pieces and how to wrap this layout up. I absolutely love using traveler's notebooks, and I feel like it's something that I don't use often enough because it is quite perfect for these type of practices. Being able to journal something short. And so I think it's really nice to use it for this project. I love how it comes out, and I can't wait to continue documenting my gratitude throughout the month of November, adding in photos here and there, but just keeping it maintainable, keeping it as something that I can sustain as a practice throughout the month, and not, overextend, because, we have ongoing scrapbooking projects, we have December daily coming up, we have things happening. So you just want it to be something like I could sit down at the end of a day and jot down a few things that I'm really grateful for, and then just keep it light and keep it succinct, and keep it sustainable. So just trying to find the dates here. I can't remember where I got this date stamp from. I have quite a few, but I quite liked that there were some icons and phrases on the edge of the stamp, not just the date. So that's a bit of fun there. So I'm just gonna stamp the date on with just some curved leaves happening, and then that will be the end of this layout. So thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you for watching. Please comment below if you're doing a gratitude journal for the month of November, or if you do gratitude journaling all year long. And I will, of course, link all my favorite tools and everything that I've used today down below. So see you in the next video, and happy November. Bye.